Hey YouTube, it is Mike with Daily Stock Fix. Welcome to another video and recap for today's trading day. Today it is Thursday, June 29, 2017. Market has been closed for a good nearly 4 hours now. It's about to be 5 p.m. Eastern, which is 8 p.m. 5 p.m. Pacific, which is 8 p.m. Eastern. So for all you Easterners who are going to watch this video, awesome. Like, you're still looking at videos this late at night. You know, I am definitely proud that you guys are still doing that. And I am happy that you're watching my video. I mean, my tiny ass account can definitely use these views. So what I'm going to talk about is what I was watching today, a couple of tweets I made in regards to the stock market today, and also top stocks to watch for tomorrow, Friday. Right, Friday is the best day for being bullish, especially with all these spikers. It's crazy. And then I'll just briefly go over some strategy that may become talking points later on in the week, maybe in the weekend, if you guys ask questions about whatever I talk about. Like I said, you know, I look at the comments. A few comments that I do receive, I do look at them. So if there's something you want me to go in depth about, I will gladly do it. Just leave it in the comment section. Okay, so I'll talk about the stocks that I wanted to play today. First things first, we'll go to my Twitter account. So at 11:57 a.m., so it's a little bit later than the usual time that I start sending out tweets. Usually I aim for like 7:15 because that's when things start to pop. By the way, why I have this here, let me just for the background, let me use the NASDAQ composite. So at 11:15, I posted this Twitter account. You guys need to follow me on Twitter. I do post really good things in terms of what's hot, what's moving, and it helps you understand what my mindset is throughout the day. So I posted here SPEX, MBRX, AVEO, MARA, NXTD, and EPTI, all my top stocks to watch. So let's quickly go back a little bit and find out how did it look at that time. Let's see if I can go to, I'm not sure if this will work, but we'll try it. 57, we'll do that. So we'll look at SPEX. Yeah, that's definitely not going to work that way. All right, so I looked at SPEX at around this time, and I said this is my top stock to watch. Whoa, can't speak today. Now let's look at the daily chart, because you always got to reference the daily chart in order to figure out what the overall strategy is. Right? I like big picture setups, and then after I look at the big picture setup, I go to the intraday and find the intraday setups that I like. Let me turn on my studies, which is a 13 EMA. I like the 13 EMA. A lot of traders use it, especially for intraday and the daily. So we're going to go with that. If you need more tips on what the 13 EMA does, like I said, leave it in the comment section below, and I'll gladly go over it. So this is obviously a parabolic move. We've moved in 3 days from 1 to 480s, right? And today I believe we're gapping down. And that's because we have one candle, three big candles, 3 big green candles, and you know, after the third day, you know, the third day is pretty much the best it can get. I'm not saying definitely short on the third day. I like to short when it goes red on the day. So I would say if it does go negative, which we'll recheck the intraday chart again, we'll look at if it's actually gapping down, in which we can then, you know, try to see if tomorrow's going to be a good shorting opportunity. But then you also have to consider how down it is. So big picture setup, it's a parabolic move. If we look at resistance, let's go to style, come down to daily. Let's look at 4 years day. It's too far. So we can see here we have resistance right there where we're top today, right at 475. And we have this huge sideways price action around here, around the 430s. So this whole area. And then after that comes up, of course, this company has done reverse splits undoubtedly because it's a shit company just like most. And that's why you have this stuff coming down all the way. So now that we know that it actually did reach resistance today, this is basically the big picture setup would be a parabolic move onto previous previous high. So this is a typical Tim Grittani short pattern if you watch his Trading Tickers DVD. So now that we know what the big picture setup is, I'll explain why my alert is there. So let's go to intraday now. So the intraday is, you can see the parabolic move, it gapped up the next day, and today, pre-market today, we had that move all the way to that previous stop, which is a 475. Then it came all the way back down, held the pre-market dip down here at the 220s, but that is a 50% loss in pre-market. That's crazy. And then it bounced again, and this entire morning it was uptrending. Right. It's a really choppy stock because it's a low price stock with huge volume, likely low float. So before I continue, we'll look at the float. I like using FinViz. It's just I like it better than Yahoo Finance. Yahoo Finance takes forever. If you guys have stocks to trade, could do for you. I think this works perfectly fine for me. So we're gonna go SPEX. This allows me to quickly move over to the float. Which, oh no, go away. Go to the float. This 4.83 million float. All right, so it's very low float, low float junk, and on the day we have traded 40 million shares, and 15 million shares the day before that, and the day before that we traded another 600,000 shares. So we are we've definitely rotated the floats several dozen times already. And this is what happens with this low float junkers, especially in this market where it's low float mania. So the reason why I have this alert here is because I didn't want to trade this stuff just because it was so choppy. We had this uptrend and it's huge downtrend. I didn't want to get into a stock that my risk is, I can't control my risk. If I go to the minute chart, you'll understand why. So if I bought here at the break at 345, I like risking off of the previous dip, right? Buy here, the the previous dip is all the way down to 280. So you're talking about a 60 cent a share initial risk here. If you buy at 344, 350s, and now you get this whole choppiness as soon as a breakout happens, that's something you don't want to hold into. You make, you're risking 80 cents a share, but in this case, hindsight of course is easy, but in this case from 347 all the way up to 370, you're talking about 30 cent risk. So 10%, sorry, 30 cent reward. So you got a 10% risk from 340s down to 280s, talking about 60 cents. So about a 30% risk just down here. If you risk down here, yeah, you bring it down to like 20%, but this is still huge. That's not something I want to get into. And then of course, because of the choppiness, people start selling, and that creates this panic. After the panic, it uptrends. Say once again, you want to buy right here on this intraday breakout here, right? The first pullback, which if there is dips, I consider the initial dip a pullback. So we have this first, the second breakout at 380, and it dips all the way down to, and the support is down to basically $3. You're talking about an 80 cent risk on a $3 stock. That is 20% risk. That's not something I want to go into. Yes, of course, you're not going to risk that much, right? It'd be insane to risk that much. So if you're buying here at 380, you're going to be risking like 360s, 370s. But just how fast this thing moves, you can easily lose. You can easily get stopped out. You can just see these panics. Mind you, these are minute candles. This is not something that is ideal in terms of risk to reward. And it's up on the third day. I've seen stocks that on the third day they go red, and that's not something I want to be stuck on. As Tim Sykes says, your odds significantly decrease on the third day. So that's why that's why it's so choppy, because people are taking profits. No one wants to buy this thing. And then the rest of the day we consolidate here. We have this afternoon high day break, or this midday break at $8, or at 8 o'clock. Man, I really gotta get my vocabulary straight. So at 8 o'clock at 425 breakout, if you say you buy here, then it comes down here. Maybe you get stopped out on this candle here. Let me zoom in. Maybe you get stopped out on that candle there because you're risking off the breakout and say from 426 down to 411. You're saying, okay, I'm not going to risk any more than 3%. So you get stopped out there, right? Then it continues uptrending, and it just has this terrible chop zone on the previous resistance of 475, as I said before. And that's also the pre-market high. So this is just not an ideal setup. But what I did look for was if it can, come, like, yes, it's going to fade the rest of the day. I look around 10 o'clock, 10:30, maybe there's a volume pop. There's nothing. Nothing happened. If I move forward, you can see at 10:30, no volume pop. 10:50s, no volume pop. 11, no volume pop. Finally, right here at 11:10, we get that volume pop. And at that point, I'm looking for it to break out the previous high, right? ABCD pattern. You want to make sure it breaks the previous high. So we have an A here, the B's down here, the C is right here-ish, and then the D is back up there. So if I was to enter it, I'd wait for it to break that high of 417. Let me quickly draw it. The ABCD. The left side. AB, and then the C ideally would have been there, and then the D is back to the break. Right. So it never happened, and right now, we're going sideways after market. This likely is going to crash because people know it's a third day. They're likely going to take profits, but also we're moving on to Friday, so it's just not great. It's not good odds. I would never recommend someone to get in this. Yeah, if you bought down here on the dip closest to support, you'd be up, but just look for better setups. This is definitely not one of those setups that are ideal. So now you understand why I have that alert. Now that I've shown you, I could take it off. And for me now, this stock is potential short, and if it crashes hard enough, I'm looking for it to come down to previous. I can do the 5-minute chart. I'm looking for it to come down to previous support. Right, we're looking if it crashes around here and it tanks below this 346 support, we can come down to the 240s, 250s. Right, 250s we might find support. If it can't hold the pre-market support, we're looking at right around here at the 195s. 195 support would be more ideal because we're right next to that 2 area. So let's say people start buying prior to the 2, we're looking at around the 210, 20, anywhere from the 220s to the 2s, and 190s is probably going to be a good dip buy for the first green day reversal for those of you who don't want to short and don't want to be long buys. But also you have to consider the market environment to see if these this low flow mania is just dying, like they're just not bouncing at all. Then you have to change your strategy up, and you can't be so aggressive in terms of just buying these things. But once again, if you don't know what I'm talking about in terms of first green day reversal, please, I highly recommend you check out my my video on this. I explain it for a good amount of time right here. 94 views. That's pretty cool. I'm glad I have 94 views. That means people are actually watching this. So definitely watch this. All right, I go in depth with the first green day reversal. I match it up with different charts that have happened in the past, and I explain exactly how SSR affects these first green day reversals. So definitely watch that if you're wondering how you can play the stock again on the next side. It's also known as the number 5 pattern on penny stocking framework, but the first red day will be number 4 on penny stocking framework. So all you shorts, congrats. If you're going to be short on the first red day, and if you're short right now and it goes down, hey, congrats, man. But I'm not willing to put myself in that risk, because how these guys can spike, hell no. I do not want to be stuck in that. So that's SPX. Let's look at the next stocks. You can see here, this is my if I can ever zoom, it will not let me do that. So we're going to go to MBRX now. Here we go, another spiker. Awesome breakout buy from that 131s. Even if you bought at 131s, you could have sold at the 140s, 150s, so make a nice little maybe 7% gain there, which would have been nice. And then if you had balls, this thing just spiked. It's up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green days now. Actually, not sorry, 4 green days. So this is one of those ones that didn't necessarily follow that 3-day rule. However, from the breakout, it had 1 green day, 2 green day, 3 green day. So from the breakout, it definitely was overextended and it fit that overextended rule. And now we finally had that first red day. First red day because it opened and closed below the previous close. So now that we know the big picture, and obviously we have resistance up here at the 360s, as well as 370s, and then higher and higher. So let's look at the intraday now. So the intraday looks a lot more uglier. It kind of looks similar to SPEX, but this guy is definitely a crazy runner from 96 to 375. Obvious support that is going to be noteworthy is here at the 180s. After that, you can see a bounce off here. This one top, two top. Today, it bounced off that at the 220s pretty nicely, but likely that is not going to hold, and it's going to continue down to the twos, bounce off that, and then here at the 180s, that's where I'm interested in. So right now, I will draw a line right here. Also, this whole chop zone right there at the twos, and that's what I'm looking for good support. So we'll see how that rolls out. Let's see how the intraday looks. So today we had that that spike and then panic, and it kind of just was hanging out around there. Then that morning spike. Once again, not ideal setup. The breakout, the morning high breakout was at 320. Previous intraday support was at 270. So you're talking about 50 cent risk on a $2 stock or $2.50 stock. So $2.50 stock, which is 20%. Not good. I don't like doing that. Yes, you can buy on the breakout and risk on the bottom. I look for better setups, more like something that's creeping upwards and then breaks out. Because then I know there's a lot more buyers. Here it's just one big ass buyers around here, and they can't get executed, so they hold their orders, and that just continues pushing the price up because there's not enough sellers. Something that consolidates upwards and goes, actually might look different. Yeah, that's ridiculous, guys. I do not want to buy in a parabolic move like that. That is no shit chasing a parabolic move, and you should wait for a dip, but around 7:30, I don't like doing that. I like doing it in the first 30 minutes to the first hour. This is not something. Yes, you can argue it's a double bottom, but better setups, guys. Better setups. You guys can chase all you want, but I've been burned way too long, and I'm gonna listen to my teachers, and I'm not gonna buy into a parabolic move here. You're trying to buy in a price action like that, you're not gonna get. You try to buy on the breakout at 320, you're not gonna get filled until the 340s. So good luck on that. And then, you're expecting probably like up to the $4 and never hits that. After that, it just goes sideways the entire way. This is perfect for shorting. You see this dip here, just hangs out above that, and as soon as it just crashes, big sell orders, and you just short when it breaks past that 31, and you get a nice from the 330s down to the 280s. That's a nice 50-cent gain on the short side. It's 20%. No, about 15% gain. And the rest of the day, we just hang out. Once again, I'm looking for a possible ABCD action on this type of stuff, where it comes up here, and then we have the break above these several highs here, 1, 2, 3. But then you also have to consider that high, and you see that it never perked beyond that. Had it broken beyond the 320s, then I would consider a buy from 320s, 330s, make a nice 5% gain, and continue going higher. Higher and higher, better gains. But once again, this thing is just so overextended. So mind you always have to pay attention to overextended stocks. Yes, these are the intraday setups that I look for. However, I'm not going to buy them unless they're like on the second day. But on its first red day, stay away from that shit, because now we can see that. Oh, and that's another thing I should mention. We have that where I have my freaking mark. That is the mark where I wanted to see if it can ever hit red on the day, or from red to green on the day, which means it went from negative to positive. It never went back positive the entire day. When it goes from red to green, that's a huge momentum shift. The shorts that are shorting it, say all the shorts that piled up here and all the shorts that are still around here, that have a huge risk tolerance, they're all shorting here. If it comes back red, holds red, and then continues perking, we can have a nice short squeeze, especially because they're all trying to short it because it's so overextended. Obviously, they're taking good profits now, and we're going to head over to the 2s and the 180s, and it's going to be a nice bounce. Another thing I want to mention is you also want to pay attention to this 13 EMA, which is why I said I can go more in depth with it. I can show you all the patterns, that all the charts that have always respected the 13 EMA around the bounce. So right now we're at 166. Likely when it opens tomorrow, because it's still going to open around the 240s, 220s, it's going to be around the 180s. As you can see, that's where it's headed to, because it's downtrending, it's going to slow down. So we're going to hit around the 180s to the 2s, and that even for me reinforces the fact that it might bounce around the 2s and the 180s even more, because not only do we have that intraday support, but we also have the EMA, which is respected. So well, yeah, I'm super excited, super excited for the MBRX. I like it when these guys crash, as long as they're under SSR. If they're if the day of the bounce it's under SSR because it was under intraday, it was under 10%, then I likely will buy for a gap up the next day. If it's not, then I just buy for the afternoon high they break and I sell. Next chart, next chart. We have AVEO. Once again, overextended 1, 2, 3. I think I released, I posted something about this guy. Where is it? Nope. Maybe in a video. I'm not quite sure. But let's look at the intraday. Obviously, you can see it's overextended. It's far beyond the 3-day rule. We have 1, 2, 3, and then the 4th day, and now we have the final red day. So once again, spiker, and the reason why I was concentrating on this 2 area today was obviously because even though it's a green candle of all you beginners, right? It's still red on the day. Red based off the percent change. Let me click off. Right there, the percent change of negative 5.73. Also seen up here, which I'm sure you guys can see because I'm working off 2K, a 2K monitor, and you guys are seeing this in 1080p 60 Hertz. But this is the first red day, so don't let that fool you. And the first red day, shorts are going to pile on. So every time it pops up, shorts are increasing their share price. So if this thing can somehow, because it's not down so much, shorts like it when these stocks are down, 10%, 20%. And even though today it was down 10% from the open, but because of that, this might still have some squeezing potential, especially AVEO. It has definitely done that before around here, especially here after the big spike, shorts are trying to pile on. It has potential, guys, so keep an eye on this. This can squeeze shorts because shorts are expecting bigger gains. And if it can retrace back up to the 240s and go green on the day, the next tomorrow, and then break out past the previous close here at the 226s, this thing can really push up higher. Let's look at the floats here, and we'll also look at the float for MBRX. So AVEO first. We're going to look at the float here. Go away to the Ameritrade commercial. Shares float 1.6 million. Let's see the volume that is traded. All right, so 1.6 million. It just looks nothing here. It just looks like 1.1 million usually is fairly large for a $2 stock. Actually, not really. It's only larger when it's like a $5 stock. But still, 50 million here, 70 million here, 30 million here, 24 million here, and then 12. We're trading around 150 now. Almost 200 million shares are being traded this day, which is almost why it doubled. Pretty neat. So this thing has definitely rotated its shares float at least twice, and you can see the fading volume action. Yeah, you can see it here. So we have fading volume. So even if you're buying up here, and you're trying to hold overnight, and you saw that it was fading volume, you're an idiot for buying the second day. Even if you made money, you're still an idiot because you're buying on fading volume, and this thing could have tanked the next day, no problem. Today we have the even further fading volume, and now it's on the first red day. We'll see what it can do tomorrow if it can break past. Let me move this up to there, and I'll move that there. And then I'll have one more final one there. So I can be alerted whether or not it breaks past. Come on, go down. Lower. All right, I'll be notified if it can go green on the next day when it breaks out past that. and if it can go green based off of that day too there at the 27s, 28s, and then of course if it can break past all-time high. So I'll be ready. If this continues going downtrending, like I said, EMA, right? We're at 140s EMA. Let's look at the intraday, see what we can in terms of support and resistance, mostly support, to see where the dips are. So if we look at the dips, if it cracks below this level here at the 190s, you can see it bounced here, bounced there. And that's pretty much it. And then right here we held support a little bit. If we can break that, we come down to the 170s. If we can break the 170s, 150s, and after that, we're coming all the way down to the 130s. So it has some bounce potential. The only thing with this thing, it only bounced once, so that's probably not going to hold too well, even though there's a whole day resistance. I'm more concerned about this 140 that I was talking about right here, 141. The reason why, as I said, is that if we look at the daily chart, here's 140. So maybe tomorrow it can perk up to the 150s, 160s, and we can see some support down here, basically around the 170s, 160s area, but we'll see. Right, I just wait for these setups. I don't want to really short this because if it breaks down here, there's so much, it's just so choppy here that it'll just be a frustrating short. I like it when something goes parabolic like this, right, and then it just comes sideways the rest of the day. I know that if it breaks down, that entire parabolic action is basically, you know, the free zone for shorts, and those are the setups you should look for. Say for example right here, parabolic, comes up, comes down, comes up, comes down. Then it's, you know, if it comes around here and then it breaks past that, it can come all the way back down here. So that's a better setup. Right now we're negative 5%, and we'll see if we, you know, I'm not going to predict it. I'm just going to react. If we have another negative day tomorrow, we'll see how slow it goes down. And if we have a green day, cool. We'll see if we can squeeze enough shorts. Let me get rid of this stuff. Mara. Let's look at the daily chart. This thing is so fucking choppy. So choppy. But it has potential to squeeze shorts, as we can see. Here we I had a huge green day, went from the basically the 15s to the 30s, it went 200%, and the next day it spiked and then went green to red. People were shorting, expecting maybe a second red day. It held at 13 EMA, as I've said several times in this video already. Then the next day it perked up, it had a gap up, and it spiked. It squeezed all the shorts, and buyers started buying on either this breakout or that breakout. I can't really tell. And then it squeezed from the 36s all the way to the 47s. So a nice like 15-20% gain, 25% gain. And then the next day, based off of this close here, it gapped up again by squeezing shorts that were shorting the parabolic move here. And then it continued going up, squeezed more shorts, went up to the 50s. And 50s is that mental number when it's under $1. So I couldn't break really convincingly past the 50s. And then the next day has small gap down, and it was red on the days. And then people started panic selling because of that easy momentum shift. 1, 2, and the third day went red. And we had the second red day as usual for the first red days at work. And then the next day, because this was SSR'd here, right? Here was SSR. And then this day, it's green. But because it went from the close here at 37s down to the 31s, once again respecting that 13 EMA, right? You guys see, you guys see it. It respected the 13 EMA, but from 37 to the 32, 31-ish, so let's say 32. That's 5 cents a share on a 35-cent stock, or 37-cent stock. That is easily 10%. So that means this day it is also under SSR. And this is the one that I want to bring up too. Oh man, I forgot to check MBRX. Let me do that real fast before I continue. By the way, MBRX short is 10 minutes. So yeah, once again, low flow. Mara, I forgot to check that. Mara 16 million, basically 17 million. We easily traded past that. 14 million here, 15 million here, 35 million, 32 million, and then basically 7, 5, and 10 million the rest of the time. So we've easily have, you know, done rotation on the float several times. So because it's under SSR today, the likelihood of a gap up is 60-70%. It's a little bit more than 50-50. And the reason why I didn't want to buy it, even though, again, I got to go back to Twitter because that's where all my thoughts are, and I can't remember exactly what my thoughts are. We go here, and we go to Mara. Where is Mara? Okay, I'm considering an overnight hold on Mara. Need a good entry with decent risk to reward. Stock is under SSR, and it will be. It will also be tomorrow. It will be tomorrow also possible gap up. So I'm saying that the SSR will also apply the next day, the following day, and so it's a possible gap up. The only way I would have wanted to be in this is if I had a better risk to reward setup, which means if it bounced off here and then it held and I saw buyers, big buyers coming up at the 43s on the level 2. I did not see that. I saw big sellers. And not only that, once it cracked, you know, right here at 43s, that was a no-go for me. You know, it could gap up. It can gap up to like the 46, 47s, or like say 45s, and you make a nice, you know, 5% gain. But it's just not a good setup because it's so choppy. First of all, it just the spread just seems a little bit wide sometimes. And also, I was looking for more of like an ABCD or a U-shaped pattern to buy into, especially when it broke past that, which is why I have the alert there. If it broke past those two highs, I would have considered a entry after the fact that it broke. You know, I wouldn't buy on the chase. I would buy on the dip, on the previous dip closer to this this high here. And since we didn't get that, oh well, I didn't enter it. If it gaps up, cool. That means the strategy still works. However, it just wasn't a stock I wanted to enter to. We'll see the intraday. Once again, using previous support, you can see that today it bounced off that previous support here at the 31s, and it came back up. But even this entire chop zone around the 34s, 35s, and also because it topped here at the 34s, you can just see a nice support level right around there at the 34s. How the EMA fits into that, you can see 32s. Yeah, it's not exactly at 34s, but it did bounce off that. So it's very nice. It works like a charm. Am I considering an entry into this? No, not really. Not anymore. I'll keep it on watch list. And I have it on top stocks to watch because I just want to see if it can gap up. But usually when you gap up on the second day, it's also potential short. Just another number 3 pattern? Yeah, number 3 pattern is when it goes parabolic. That would be number 3. It'd be a number 4 pattern. Just another short. So that's tomorrow. We'll see if it gaps up. And if it does, I'm still right. If it doesn't, hey, that's one of the 40% that don't. NXTD. Let's look at the daily chart. Whoa. What happened there? One second, guys. There's like I'm here on Oceanside, California, and the base just outside is on fire. Yeah, it's my base, but it's on fire. Just every 4 years it goes on fire. So there's all these helicopters flying over it, dropping water, and I just closed the window. So we go NXTD. We have 1, 2, 3 big ass green days, right? Because this green day isn't so big and it wasn't over the EMA, I would say it maybe have room for another spike. We did break out past this high here, this high there, that high at 260s. But right now we're about to we hit this entire sideways action right around the 270s, right? And not only that, we have that high there, there, and there. And so now we're really in a situation where it's entering the 3s, not only that mental number of the 3s, but also has all this resistance up here. And that's not something I want to get into, especially when it's coming up to the 3rd day. So now that we know that, on NXTD, the best stock of the day for sure. That's when I announced here, NXTD is on my top stocks to watch. Missed Mara, or Mara didn't do anything here. Shit, I missed the NXTD breakout. I was on the phone trying to waive a late payment. So I was making a payment on some cards, and apparently one of my payments was entered like at 12:01 in the middle of the night instead of 12. or sorry, instead of 11:59, so it was processed as a late payment. So I called them up, and that call took like 20-30 minutes, and I wasn't looking on my computer because, of course, you know, I'm trying to look at the bills, looking at the statements, trying to match it with what he's telling me. But because I was not looking at my screen, which now it's a terrible idea. Don't do anything else when the trading day is happening. Because I wasn't looking at the freaking charts, you know, I missed it. But it is definitely a beautiful, beautiful chart. And I would, had I bought this, I would not hold overnight. I would only buy for the afternoon high day breakout parabolic move. And what that means is if I go to the daily chart, so when I was looking at it, it was 11:59, 11:50s. This is when I said, you know, top stocks to watch. This is one of them because you can see a clear pattern that I've always gone over in my Instagram post and also here on YouTube. So we have the A right there, right? The morning spike, we have A. Here we have B. And then when it breaks past these two, we have the potential C there with a C dip. Come on, C there with a C dip, right? I like to buy on the C dip. That is a better entry because usually it dips after the C, especially because it can hold this. And then when it holds that all day long, I'm paying close attention to that level, the previous high. Previous high was 244. So had it broken out past this, you know, it would have been a nice buy. However, the reason why this didn't work here, why it couldn't break past that, as I've said on Instagram, for you guys, those of you guys following me, by the way, thank you for following me on Instagram. I really appreciate it. Midday breakouts don't work all the time. Sure, you'll have those onesies and twosies that work out, and then you know that you learn the wrong lesson. You're like, oh man, I missed that midday breakout, and yeah, I missed that midday breakout. Next time I'm gonna buy the midday breakout, and you learn the wrong lesson. One good lesson on that, if I go to my Instagram post, I actually, you know, I make mistakes too. I don't follow my own rules. While we're doing that, we're gonna look at NXTD floats. I'm not discussing the news about these stocks, by the way, because that's for you guys to do. None of this stuff is actually really great. It's just the mania that is happening right now. But most of them are coming with news, and afterwards, right as soon as I'm done with all these stocks, we'll look at the stockpromoters.com to see which one of these are being promoted. 200 followers, by the way. Awesome guys. Thank you. If only we can have the same the same number on my YouTube account, so I can finally change my freaking YouTube name to Daily Stock Fix, so that you guys can just enter youtube.com/Daily Stock Fix. That'd be a lot better than me giving these crazy ass links. But we're gonna go to a couple of days ago. I bought a stock called AVEO. And it was a midday, what I thought was going to be a midday break. So let's go right here. Man. Okay. AVEO, you can see the morning spike, right? So that's an obvious A. Here it come down, here's a B, right? If it came lower, it would have been a B also, but at that point, if it continues to make lower lows, I just don't pay attention to it. So we have the morning spike, we have A, B, and then C is when it breaks past these highs right on here, which is why you can see that volume increase when it breaks past that nice little green candle. And then the dip, so C dip, right? We always want to buy on the dip after the C because that's a better entry. And then if it holds that dip, you know it's at an actual C. And it starts coming up higher and higher and higher. And then I bought there in anticipation of the breakout. But once again, it was at 8:30, which means it's midday. Took a loss on AVEO, rookie mistake, bought the stock on strength instead of waiting for the dip, and I bought in the middle of the day. I take it I was too excited from the gain I made earlier, out for the day unless a good setup appears in the afternoon. So that's the lesson I want to share with you, because that's exactly what this is here. Yes, it's not at 8:30 around here, but it is at 9. That's still midday. You know, I'm not looking to buy a stock until around 10:30, 10:15 to 11 o'clock, and definitely around 12 o'clock is when I want to be in the stock if it's a good setup. But 10:15 is the earliest. Yeah, 10:15, 10:30 is the earliest I want to be in the stock. I don't want to be in the stock any earlier than that. But this whole midday stuff, stay away from it as best as you can. Stay away from it. So if you were selling here, now you know exactly what not to do. And then it holds that big C here. So now it's even a better setup. Maybe you can even consider this as a C here, but I mean, we can argue all day. But this dip here, you can see it's holding that support at the 212s, which is also support, resistance for all these tops here, 1, 2, 3. And then we come up, and the best spot to enter, if you did not enter at C, was dip after the breakout. Yes, if you bought the breakout here, let me draw the line. Oh, man. All right, so if you bought that breakout right there, all right, you'd been chasing first of all because it's a huge spike. Say if you got executed as soon as it came down, and say you had a potential reward for like 10%, right? If you bought on the 240s, you would sell like a 250s, you made a nice 10 cents a share, 5%. Or if it continued going higher, go to the 260s and stuff like that. I wouldn't want to get into that, but when it dipped here, this is something that I'm paying attention to now, but I'm also considering that this is a different market. But you can see that it didn't. If you're putting your stop right at 244, you would have gonna stopped out there. So and this was another lesson I had just the other day on what was it? This guy, DXTR. You can't see it here, but basically this afternoon had a breakout. Bottom of the breakout, you can see it's not too fast, but at bottom of the breakout went up all the way to the 36. I was planning, trying to sell at the 37s, as I say right there. Would have ran back to 37s. I tried to sell at the 37, but never hit the 37s. Came back down, and initially I had my risk at 34s, but I noticed that the 34s was just under there. So I had weak hands, is what we call it in stock trading. I had weak hands because I didn't want to hold into it. I had my stop too tight. As soon as it literally cracked that line there at like 34.50s, I sold, right? And then later on, it just continued spiking all the way down to let's actually check it out. How far did it continue spiking? Right here. So the breakout here, it spiked up, came back down. You can see it never broke that 34, but I sold at 34.50s. And then right after I sold, it continued spiking up all the way to the 38s, which is far more. I wanted it to go to 40s, but likelihood it was not. 30 selling it at 38s, 39s is ideal. And it spiked up, and then it just consolidated, and it went to red the next day. But this is something that I learned the hard way, especially with this market, is that because these things are so volatile, they're spiking and they're moving so fast, you got to give it a little bit more room. And that's what I would have done on this one, except I didn't because I missed it. Not this one. Where is it? Which one were we talking about? NXTD. So yeah, I missed it, and it just continued spiking higher. And the reason why I missed it is, yes, I just stopped looking at it because I missed the initial move past the breakout, and also it's on the third green day. I'm not going to buy on the third green day because I don't want to get stuck on a red day or on the next day, which likely becomes red. If it continues spiking past the third green day and it goes to the fourth green day, cool, awesome. Better short for shorts, and that means it can tank even harder for a dip buy. But I don't want to put myself in that situation because I know the odds are with me in all kinds of markets where I'm not buying on the third green day because the next day it tanks. So you can be spoiled as much as you want here. I'm going to stick to my rules. I'm going to stick to my foundation I've learned over the course of 2 years, and I'll stay safe. Right, but NXTD was definitely a great buy for those of you who held on to it and have harder risk tolerance or that learned bad lessons. Cool, you made great money here, potential 50% reward all the way to the top here. And if not, if you sold right before the market closed here at the 68s, you made a really nice like 15%. No, 10%. Actually closed here at the 280s. So you made a good 20% before the market closed, and you're still holding. If this thing continues gapping up, please sell it if it gaps up. Don't hold on and hope. Yeah, I mean, yeah, just don't do it. I'd rather you guys sell, early than too late, and then you take stupid losses because you held in hope. All right, next one we're gonna go over is GEVO. Why it's on my watch list. Nothing more than it's kind of a slight breakout over the 72s, and if it breaks past the 72s, we can go up to around the 890s, especially in this market with all this you know, low price junk moving. The only thing I don't like about it is that the volume isn't all too great. But then, you know, tomorrow I can have a 3 million share day, 4 million share day, just as it has before in the past. So we'll see. I'll go over this news, AK listing. Oh, that's right. One cool thing that I want to talk about this one. Good thing I opened up the news. This is the only one I'll talk about news. This listing notice. I'll go over it real fast. All right, here we go. Right here. So this thing, GEVO, the letter staff provided notification that for the previous 30 consecutive days, the bid price for the company common stock has closed below $1 per share minimum bid requirements for the NASDAQ listing rule. So this is a NASDAQ delisting rule. For some reason, and I'm not sure, I'm not going to try to go through all the stocks that I remember or that have been happening recently, but for some reason, actually maybe DXTR, it can be, but I know it's recent in the last 2 weeks. All these companies that are having delisting notices are spiking, and you need to take advantage of that. You need to understand that and understand that a lot more companies, as long as this this small market continues moving like this, all these delisting companies are going to spike. I checked to see if GEVO is being promoted. Maybe they hired a promoter to try to bring the stock price up so they can once again be listed. But you have to pay attention to these sub-dollar stocks because they spike. They spike especially because they want to stay delisted, whether it's some manipulation they're doing or they're hiring stock promoters to keep them listed by pushing the price up, or I don't know what the fuck they're doing, but you have to understand that they're going to try to push the price up. Let's see if it's DXTR. Maybe it's DXTR. No, it's not DXTR. DCTH, yeah, DCTH. Let's see. When was the spike? No, it couldn't have been DXTH or DCTH. It was way too far. Yeah, I'm not gonna look to it. But yeah, GEVO, it has potential spike because it's a breakout. It held above the breakout, but it's so choppy. It's so fucking choppy. So that's why I just haven't watched this. I wouldn't say it's top stock to watch. I just want to watch it mostly because I want to see what it does the next day. ADAD. Unfortunately, I was hoping it could go continue going green on the day. There was a time here. I'll show you. I did mention ADAD still positive on the day. OTC breakout looks even more likely. This was at 12:55 p.m. right before the market closed. That's not the case anymore. It finally had its first red day after this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green day run up. Good job, promoters. I'm pretty sure this is going to look very similar to. Let's look at pumps. No, ENET. What's in this one? Let's just look through all of them. Yeah, right here, it never really broke out. I love it when they break out. Fucking love it. Like right here. This guy, right here. I love it when they can retest these highs like that and break out. Those are potential buys for me. Also, with really any pump, as soon as it has the first green day, it typically gaps up the next day. Yeah, see, green day, gap up. Green day, gap up. Green day, gap up. So it's just like that gap up number 5 pattern that I've talked about in previous videos, and also now. Green day, gap up. I mean, I could go over this forever. Green day, gap up. Green day, gap up. Green day, gap up. Green day, gap up. So definitely, like, there's more than one way to buy these stocks, and that's why you need to educate yourself. Buy penny stock and framework, and then we can you can really make some good money because this shit happens all the time. They're just being manipulated, and they're being manipulated in a way that's the only way promoters know. This one is the exception here, but yeah, just these green days. Over all the times that I've shown you a green day, they always gap up. Aside from this point here, going back to ADAD, where it looks like we're going. I want to show you one that looks exactly like that. See that breakout there? That breakout, buy the breakout. I'm not a financial advisor, but buy the breakout. Buy those fucking breakouts. EPTI is even one. Buy that breakout there at 135. You buy the breakout there at 190s, right? You buy the fucking breakout. Yes, you don't hold it for 1 or 2 days because you don't know what the stock promoter is going to do, especially now that EPTI is fucking halted. So if you're holding and hoping like, oh, it's going to go, you know, to the fucking sky, or the promoter is going to keep going up, you're going to keep setting it higher and higher and higher, you're a fucking idiot, dude. These promoters don't care about you. All they want to do is bring the stock price up, and if they get caught, they get caught. And this is obvious manipulation. So ADAD, continue going. Looks like this guy right here. Yeah, just fucking, you know, it's like a, it's like an animal, like a dying animal, just trying to survive every time, and it just can't. It won't. You know, breakout, right? Always buy that breakout. Doesn't look like, oh, right here. So it looks like it's coming up and then it comes down. So ADAD looks like it's fitting that same chart pattern, and now it's going down to a number 4 again. You can buy the number 5. Hey, wait for the number fucking 5 again. We got plenty of support around here at the 20s. So look for a crash around there. But if this can somehow fake out past that red day, you know, sure, it's going to pile on probably tomorrow. And if it can squeeze them, cool. We continue going to the 70s. I hope it can break out. I'll be happy. If it can't, promoters, you suck. You suck so much. And EPTI, once again, is another promotion going on now. It's halted, so I'm just watching it just so I can see how far it crashes and burns, probably down to the 1s. And I can laugh. I can laugh at all the dumbass longs that don't know how to play these things because they don't study. Aside from that, guys, what did I say I was going to do at the end of the video? I can't remember. Oh, that's right. Stockpromoters.com. We're going to see which ones for my top stock or my stock watch list is being promoted. So, stocking. All right. We're going to go one by one. SPEX. Today, gotta look at the date because the date is important. See if it's still being, or if it's recent. Where the fuck? All right. 6/28. That was yesterday, gents, ladies too. That was yesterday. SLC has been compensated 35. Let's look at the actual thing. Oh, so pretty. Look at that. They're talking about numbers and fucking diagrams and shit. Yeah. So we're looking at the thing that we care about is a disclaimer. Let's see if we can read it right off here. For those of you guys who actually still scour through fucking emails. Primitive. Just look at these guys. Where is it? SCS LLC has been compensated $35,000 cash via bank wire by a third party, which means it's not the company itself. It's probably someone who owns a fuck ton of shares of this company and they need it up. So yeah, that's a pretty that's a pretty fucking good return if you ask me. From 192 all the way to the 4s. If he's selling onto this shit, good job. Good job, insider. You know, I'm not as heartless as he is, but that is, damn, that what $35,000 can do for you, huh? That's crazy. I would want a car. This guy just fucking bought like 100 Lambos or some shit. That's crazy. All right, so now we know SPEX is moving. Let's go to MBRX. The date is the March. We are way past that, so MBRX is not necessarily being pumped. So this is probably based off news. If we look at the news, you guys can do it some other day. So it's not being pumped. AVEO, let's check if this guy is being promoted. Date 10, nope, definitely not being promoted. Probably news-based and also breakouts. Yeah. Mara, the fucking ugly ass runner that everyone for some reason fucking loves. I don't know why everyone loves it. I just don't like charts that look that ugly. Mara, 6/13/2013. That, nope. Not worried. NXTD, almost guaranteed it's pumped. 6/29, that's today, guys. Also 29 here. 29, 29, 28, 28, And then that's so yeah. Since 28, they started promoting it. Maybe the promoters bought shares and they promoted their own stock. Let's find out what their what the thing is. Disclaimer: penny stock in general. Blah blah blah. The stupid charts. Where's the percentage numbers? Those big percentage numbers. I don't see it. Okay, go there. Well, I'm gonna let you guys read that if you want to do it yourself. We're just gonna read it here because they make it easy for you. PennyStockInGeneral.com has been compensated $3,000 via electronic transfer from a non-affiliated third party, ALG Financial, for the profile. Who is this guy? What is this? ALG Financial. Wall Street Journal. Well, I don't really know, but basically these guys have shares in them, and they paid them. And then on the 28th, Penny Stock in General has been compensated $3,000 once again from third-party ALG Financial for NXTD. So it's definitely being promoted, and definitely use the fucking penny stocking framework onto the stock when it crashes, because it's gonna work. It will work because it's just another pump. Pumps don't always have to be smooth up. They can move up and then crash back down. You just have to know how to play them. GEVO, highly doubtful because not really doing any big moves yet. We'll see. GEVO 19, nope, not promoted. ADAD, do I even have to go over it? But I will. I will. ADAD 5/16/2017. That is a long time ago. Yeah, I guess they just don't have everything on this site. So, but I don't need to tell you that it's being promoted. You can just fucking see it. EPTI. EPTI 27, the 27th. Awesome. It was being promoted on the 27th, which is on that day, right there on the breakout day, and then it got halted. How much did it get compensated? Discloses how many shares been compensated. Do we receive shares by from the profile? Okay. We'll disclose how many and what type of shares we have been compensated if we do receive shares and buy shares of the profile company. OTC Rockstar will now be wholly owned by Freedom Ventures LLC. So you should keep track of who these LLCs are, because yeah, you know how efficient they are. Has been compensated up to $7,500 via cash bank wire from the third party. So for this 1-day marketing of EPTI. Obviously they wanted to fucking make the thing break out, so they made it break out. And they were damn effective at it. Then here, penny stock and picks. Freedom Ventures, basically the same fucking company there. Yeah, and they're pretty good. 612. Compensated EPTI the amount of $27,500 USD on the 6/12, which is back here when the promotion first started. Actually started somewhere around here, but this is officially when the promotion first started. They just started dumping their shares, and then it finally came back up. Once again, first red day, hold overnight, get a nice little gain. All right. Aside from that, guys, hottest stock to watch for sure is just all these fucking things that are gonna crash and burn. SPEX, first red day, potential first red day, MBRX, second red day, or possible short squeeze. AVEO, second red day and possible short squeeze. This guy is just a piece of shit. Maybe a breakout again over that 55 cents. NXTD, hopefully it continues going up and then crashes and burns and bounces. GEVO, possible breakout. This one, ADAD, I wish it broke out, but it looks like it's going to be another second red day and a number 4 on the penny stocking framework. And EPTI is currently halted. We'll just see how it can gap down. So that's it, guys. It's a nice little long video. I hope you guys learned a couple of things. It was a nice hour-long video. Wow. You guys definitely learned a lot today, and I am worn out. Until next time, guys, Mike with Daily Stock Fix. Peace.